Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to the International E-Conference on Artificial Intelligence in Pharma and Healthcare. This conference has been envisioned as a global platform that brings together leading experts, researchers, practitioners, policymakers, and innovators from across the world. With artificial intelligence rapidly transforming the way we look at drug discovery, disease management, clinical trials, and healthcare delivery, this event is designed to highlight those cutting edge developments, showcase practical applications, and discuss the opportunities that lie ahead. The conference serves as a forum for exchanging ideas, exploring emerging trends, and addressing the challenges of integrating AI into pharma and healthcare ecosystems. Through these discussions, our goal is to inspire innovation and shape strategies that can improve accessibility, efficiency, and patient outcomes worldwide. I would like to introduce Ciree Skillversity, an innovative initiative under the Center for Industry Readiness, Research and Education. Ciree Skillversity is focused on equipping learners with industry-relevant skills and bridging the gap between academic learning and real-world applications. With over 35 specialized courses, collaborations with more than 35 institutions, and a track record of training more than 13,000 learners, Ciree Skillversity has established itself as a trusted platform for skill development. Its programs cover a wide range of domains including artificial intelligence, data science, healthcare, management, entrepreneurship, and emerging technologies. Through project-based learning, interactive sessions, and expert-led training, Skillversity is building a knowledge ecosystem that nurtures innovation and prepares future-ready professionals aligned with global industry needs. The conference today is to bring together diverse perspectives and expertise to explore how AI is revolutionizing pharma and healthcare, from accelerating research and drug discovery to advancing diagnostics, precision medicine, and patient care. At the same time, it seeks to foster knowledge exchange, encourage innovation, and build global networks that connect researchers, institutions, startups, and professionals. Most importantly, it aims to empower the next generation of talent by giving them the exposure, insights, and opportunities they need to thrive in an AI-driven healthcare world. Our very first distinguished speaker is Nick Desai, a visionary entrepreneur and leader in the healthcare technology space. He is the CEO of Together, a pioneering generative AI healthcare app, and the former CEO of Heal, a revolutionary healthcare platform that transformed the way patients access the medical care. He is a five-time venture-funded founder with a proven track record of building impactful startups. With his background as an engineer and a passion for reimagining healthcare through technology, he continues to drive innovation at the intersection of AI and healthcare delivery. We are honored to have him with us today to share his insights and experiences.
Hello, everyone. And just one quick question before I get started. How long should I speak for approximately?
So we can have a discussion over 45 to 50 minutes.
Okay, great. So first of all, welcome and namaste, everyone. I'm Nick Desai. I have, in the course of my entrepreneurial career, I finished my master's in engineering in 1992, when most of the students on this call, I don't think were born yet, right, are very young. And I have since 1994 been an entrepreneur, building my own companies. I've built 5 venture-funded startups, and thankfully, because of their success of Heal and Hey Renee and different companies, I've gotten to speak at conferences and universities around the United States, at Stanford and Harvard and MIT and the Consumer Electronics Show and Health 2.0 and every venue you can imagine. But I have never, ever had the privilege, the thrill, and the excitement of speaking to people in my own birthplace in Mumbai, India. I was born in a part of Mumbai called Matunga, if some of you are familiar with that. It's a suburb of Mumbai, Matunga, India, in my grandmother's house. And when I was born in 1970, I wasn't born. The doctor didn't come to deliver me. The doctor's wife just came because that's the way it happened back then. And when I was 3 months old, my parents came here. And so I've grown up in the US, but I am a Yehe Mumbai Mere Jaan, right? So I won't embarrass myself by trying to speak much more Hindi than that, other than to say that when I get to come back to Mumbai and spend time there and eat there, whether it's Worli Seaface or Jew Beach or Matunga or Sion or Dadar or New Mumbai or Bandra or any place else, I find it more home and more of a joy to my heart than any place in the world I've ever been. So it's a genuine thrill to speak with all of you. Now, here's what I will say about being an entrepreneur in health tech. First of all, I honestly think you are in the best country in the world to be health tech entrepreneurs, because people don't realize the sheer size and scope of India, right? Just to put it in perspective, place to be a health tech entrepreneur, because you have a young, mobile, tech savvy, easy, early adopter population and less government regulations and a great need of innovation. Let me give you another statistic. In the United States, the average healthcare spend per person is $12,000 US, okay? It's about 70 rupees to the dollar right now, 80 rupees to the dollar. So that's almost 10 lakh rupees per person, okay? In India, the average healthcare spend per person in a year is 80 US dollars, okay? About 80, what am I doing the math? About 6,500 rupees, if I'm doing the math correctly, okay? It's astronomically lower, right? United States may have gotten a person to the moon first, but the cheapest, and to Mars first, but the cheapest spacecraft ever to land on Mars was accomplished by the ISRO, right? I think it's Cyrus or his son, I forget his name, the Poonawalla family that makes vaccines, right? They're the largest makers of vaccines in the world right there in Pune. And what we have, so, is a combination of a young population, the second largest penetration of mobile phones and internet-enabled phones in the world, 740 million people, if I understand correctly, have mobile phones. More people in India have access to mobile phones than toilets. And that's, maybe more people should have toilets. But the point is that there's a tremendous access to these patients. And when Reliance came along with Jio, the all unlimited mobile plan for, I can't remember how the low cost of it, I had the opportunity to work with Reliance back in 2004 when they were just creating that. It's incredible what they've done, right? It's made mobile data affordable to everybody. And what that does is, when we try to bring a technology to market in the United States, we deal with people's resistance to accepting that technology. One, sorry, my computer is slipping, 1 second. Plus, we deal with government regulations, because the American healthcare system is incredibly regulated, right? And there are federal laws from those of the United States government, state laws from each of the 50 states, and then local laws. Just an example, my wife, who's a fellow Indian, Dr. Renee Dua, she's a physician, the nephrologist. She and I started Heal and Hey Renee together. She's a Renee. In Hey Renee, she is a licensed doctor in California. But if she travels from California to Nevada, next door, where there is an outbreak of COVID, right, the next state over, to help, she can't practice medicine there because she isn't licensed there. Each of the 50 states has their own licensing requirements, has their own telehealth requirements, has their own pharmaceutical delivery requirements, has all of these different requirements. So you have, first of all, a private pay insurance system, a government insurance system, government regulations, and then people's resistance, right? You know, let's just talk about COVID. The United States has had 2 great COVID vaccines since the beginning of this calendar year, yet only 60% of the adult population is vaccinated. because a lot of people refuse to get the vaccine. In India, people would die to get the vaccine, right? Literally, people would kill each other to get that vaccine that people here won't take, despite the fact that it's available free. And in general, in India, there's a culture of embracing these new technologies, not because they are replacing a slightly older technology, but because that technology choice is the difference between life and death. It's the difference between, it wasn't that you had to convince Indians to buy data-enabled cell phones over their data-enabled computers and their reliable landline phones and their reliable satellite TVs. It was that the phone is their internet, was their only internet connection, was their only reliable communication device, was their only reliable entertainment device. And so it became that the adoption was out of necessity, right? And that necessity applies in healthcare more than any place else, because you could talk about the cost of healthcare in the United States, and you can talk about how much money is wasted, the bureaucracy and the regulations, but the average person born in the United States will live 10 years longer than the average person born in India right now. Now that's pretty amazing, isn't it? And not in a great way. The CEO of Google is Indian, the CEO of Microsoft is Indian, the CEO of IBM is Indian, and a full third of all practicing doctors in the United States are first or second generation Indians. My father-in-law, who came here from India, he went to Ames. I think it's you probably know, All India Medical School, right? My father went to IIT and came here, right? All of these people that are here, that are powering the healthcare system in innovation and doctors. So how come Indians are not living as long? And it's not a few months, it's not statistical margin of error, right? And obesity is much more prevalent in the United States than it is in India. It's becoming a problem as India gets wealthier, but it's much more of a problem here in the United States, right? And depression is more of a problem. Alcoholism is more of a problem. Drug abuse is more of a problem. Gun violence is more of a problem. So why are Americans living 10 years longer? Because we have institutionalized preventive health care and the availability of, most of you are pharmacy students, I think I remember hearing, we have institutionalized easy availability of drugs, not necessarily cost effective. We often talk in the United States that American drug companies develop a drug that's cheaper in India than it is in the United States. I know so many Indians who are first generation, who when they go back to India, they buy whatever medication they have that they're supposed to take here, they go buy tons of generics from the chemist there and bring back suitcasefuls of them because it's cheaper, even with insurance here, it's cheaper just to buy it in India, right? So, but we've institutionalized preventative care, screenings, and the availability of routine medications, right? People in India are still getting sick from malaria, as an example, right? Every year, but nobody dies in the US from malaria, right? We've eradicated some of these diseases, and India's made a lot of progress in these areas. But yes, and there's food, access to food and clean water, and some of the things we're not going to talk about today. And I don't know about all of these things, right? But what I'm saying is that when you have a country where you have a very low cost, high quality, high reliability ability to make pharmaceuticals, you have a huge penetration of cell phones and data-enabled devices. You have one of the youngest populations in the world, and you have necessity-based adoption of new services and features, and you have an acute lack of most basic healthcare services to lower-income Indians, right? You have a perfect combination of the necessary ingredients to foster incredible innovation, right? Because you're not going to be slowed down by a government. You're not going to be slowed down by people's resistance. You're going to be able to save lives. You're going to be able to make meaningful improvements. And you have a local supply chain. And of course, it goes without saying that India writes more lines of engineers in India write more lines of software code than any other country in the world, right? You already know that. You don't need me to tell you that. So there's the technology talent that's locally available, right? So in that sense, the first point I want to make is that I think India is a phenomenal market in which to innovate, right? And why is a cell phone important here, right? Why is it important that 800 million, or I don't know the exact number, maybe one of you do, and or someone can Google it, but I think it's 750 or 800 million Indians have data-enabled devices now. But why is that important? Because what is the forefront of the next generation of healthcare delivery? It's here. It's a smartphone. This is it. My daughter wants me to have a pink case to my phone. It's the smartphone, whether it's telehealth, whether it's mental health, whether it's diagnostic. There are companies developing technologies. Actually, one of them is in India that is developing the technology that if I hold my camera up to my face, it will be able to detect my blood pressure, my heart rate, and my body temperature without having to wear a blood pressure cuff, without having to get a thermometer, without having to do any of those things, right? So the phone is a diagnostic tool, it's a communication tool, it's a therapeutic tool, and its availability is critical. Now, what a phone is not, is it's not a curative therapeutic in the sense that it's not a pill. If you need to take a statin for cholesterol, you still need to swallow the pill. But a phone can do a great job of reminding you that you need the prescription, of having someone bring it to your house. What is the local, what is the biggest sort of on-demand delivery service in India? It's not Flipkart. Flipkart's an e-commerce, but there's the local service that
1mg and Pharmacy. These are the two online pharmacies.
So you can have it bring the medication. You can get a text with a picture of it. If you're supposed to take it with milk, you can say, take this medication with milk, and you can communicate with people that way. Now, these are things that are already happening. Telehealth is already happening. Pharmacy delivery is already happening. So what I would encourage you to think about, right, is not, how do I solve healthcare in India? Well, who knows how to solve healthcare for 1.3 billion people, right? I don't, and I don't think any of you do. But each of you grew up in a town, a city, a village, and most importantly, each of you are part of a family, right? And someone in that family, somebody had cancer, somebody has diabetes, somebody had heart disease, somebody had a car accident, somebody got cancer. Things happen. My family, your family, all of our families. Somebody got COVID. Start thinking about the things you can do that would help the people in your family immediately, where you can immediately see a use case, where you can immediately see an application for a small group of people that has a real, immediate, specific, and tangible value, right? When we created Heal, and Heal grew to a company where we raised $200 million of investment capital. We do doctor house calls in 11 states. When we started Heal in 2014, and we told people we were going to do a company that did doctor house calls, the investors laughed at us. They said, no one would do, this is never going to work in the United States. Today, the house call is considered the standard of care. That is how most people get healthcare in America. Renee and I created that company, right? But we didn't do it with the idea of changing American healthcare. We did it because we had our first child and we wanted healthcare for our own kids that was easier to get. When we created Hey Renee, it's a care concierge to help people remember all their medications that they're supposed to take and remember all the measurements and things that they're supposed to do. But we created it because Renee's father had back surgery and he couldn't remember everything he was supposed to do. So he would call his daughter and say, hey, Renee, what about this? And hey, Renee, what about that? Hey, and then we were like, if he needs it, everybody needs it. So the best rule in healthcare is to think local. Think about a problem you have, your dad had, your uncle had, your baji had, your nani had, whatever. Think about that kind of problem and solve it in a way that uses the most intuitive, simplest, straightest, shortest line to that solution, right? Don't make it complicated or fancy. Simplicity is the key. And you know why? I'll tell you something. One of our investors in Heal is a guy named Lionel Richie, okay? Does anyone know who Lionel Richie is? The musician. He's a world famous singer. Some of you may know the song Hello, Dancing on the Ceiling. He's an incredibly famous, one of the best-selling artists. Behind Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie is one of the best-selling musical artists of all time. And I got to know him over the course of the 7 years I ran Heal. And he's a world-famous person. When he walks out of the house, it's like Amitabh Bachchan. Hundreds of people gather around him and want his autograph. But when his kid is sick, or when his wife gets sick, he's not a billionaire and he's not a famous person. He's just a worried person. And that's the unifying theme of healthcare. When somebody in your family is sick, you're not a pharmacy student or an entrepreneur or a rich person. You're just someone worried about the person in your family, right? Steve Jobs created Apple, but he died of pancreatic cancer in his early 50s. No amount of money in the world could save him, right? Healthcare is a great equalizer in that sense. So you want to optimize for simplicity. The other thing you want to do is look horizontally. And here's what I mean by that. Too often in healthcare, we think about a vertically specific solution because we think about patients. And when we talk about patients, we talk about patients in terms of this is a cancer patient. Well, that's a diabetic patient. Oh, that's a hypertension patient. Oh, that's a asthma patient, right? Or a heart disease patient. But when we talk about human beings, we say that's my naniji, or that's my uncle, or that's my friend, right? People are not one health condition. People are human beings. And typically human beings have a series of health and lifestyle conditions. The wonderful young lady who introduced me said that we're all humans, but putting the humanity back in it. I think often health tech innovations miss the humanity. And here's what the humanity is. Let's say, for example, you tell someone to take a medication that they need to take with milk. Okay, let's just say this medication will cause acid reflux or gout or GERD or whatever you call it, unless you take it with milk. But what if that person doesn't have milk? What if they can't afford milk? What if there's no one to bring the milk to their house, right? What if you tell the person to get in their bathtub, but to do that, they have to climb up the stairs, but they can't climb up the stairs? What if you tell the person to measure their blood pressure, but they don't know how, right? These are all simple examples, but they're meant to illustrate a point, which is to help any part of a patient's healthcare. Let me just take a very direct example. What is one of the most important reasons people don't take their medications when they do have them and they can't afford them? They're not motivated. They don't care. They've lost faith, right? My grandmother lived till 93 years old, and I was very fortunate in Mumbai. She lived that long in the Worli sea face. But the last 3 years of her life, she had cancer. And she would always say to my mother in Gujarati, to my mother or my uncle who lived with her, my mama, she would say, I'm going to say it in Gujarati. I think most of you will understand what I'm trying to say, but have muk, have mane marwa de, have mane nathi jivu, right? Like she had lost hope. But if she had lost hope, she would have died 4 or 5 years earlier, right? So sometimes the important thing to do is not just get the person the medication, but give them the motivation. In her case, she had a loving son and daughter to push her along and go with her and help her. But not everybody has that, right? So maybe it's a mental health, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's an uncle or an aunt or a brother or sister who you can get to help that person along to deliver that motivational message, right? So the point is, you have to think about the whole human. And you have to think about, if I'm going to solve this problem, what are the related problems I have to solve? I can't just tell this person to go to a dialysis center. Most of you are probably familiar with what dialysis is, right, for kidney disease. Oh, go to a dialysis center. Oh, go get your chemotherapy at the hospital. What if they can't drive? And what if they don't have, I don't know, what is the Uber in India? What is it called?
It's Ola.
Ola, right, Ola, the hotel guy, right? The guy who, it's also a hotel chain, right?
No, that's Oyo.
Oyo, okay, not the hotel chain. Okay, sorry. But Ola, maybe it's Ola. Maybe they need you, maybe getting them a ride. And all of these things are present here in the United States too. And India will have different factors, and maybe it's heat, and maybe it's, but my point is, think about the patient horizontally. Think about solving all the context of the problems that you need to solve for them to help them take that step forward in their health, right? The third thing, and I only have 4, and then I'll stop talking. The third thing is to think about the problem from an innovative solution, okay? Too often, it's tempting for young people here in the US. I talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs here, India, everywhere. I'm going to take this idea that this big company has, and I'm going to put a little spin on it, or I'm going to make it a little cheaper, or I'm going to make it a little better. I don't think you should think that way. The difference between you and the person who started Oyo or Ola or Flipkart or Schmipkart or whatever else is nothing, except that they had the courage to go ahead and start it, right? They had the audacity to think that they could do something big and important and substantial, right? And so I would encourage you, on one hand, to think about a very specific, very local, very immediately impactful solution. And the reason for that is that the way you show traction, the way you show momentum for your product is not by saying, one day I'll have 10 million people using my product. It's by saying, today I have 5 people, 3 people using my product. And tomorrow it was 10, and the next day, and the next day. You don't build an empire in big, giant steps. You build it one person at a time, right? And it's easy for an entrepreneur to forget that. And the last thing I would challenge you to think about is India allows for an incubation of ideas at an incredibly low cost, right? If you are able to bring your ideas to other countries, to Brazil, to Russia, to China, China's a little bit different and hard, to the United States, to Western Europe, to Singapore, Korea, whatever, you can, at your Indian cost curve, affect much higher revenues and margins for the dollar, right? There's nothing better in the world than earning US dollars and spending Indian rupees. That's why I feel like a billionaire every time I come to India, okay? Because I can eat like a king for a whole day for 200 rupees. And so, but the corollary to that is you already know the cost side and the supply side. And if you leverage that, but bring your products to an international market. And again, you can't do everything at once. That's not what I'm saying. But if you think with that perspective and don't limit yourself, you can bring your products to places where, sure, at a purchasing power parity level, they're paying the same amount, but on a net conversion economics basis level, right? When you factor in conversion rates and the relative cost efficacy of India, they're paying a lot more, and you're paying an Indian rupee and earning a Chinese yuan or a British pound or a Korean whatever or a American dollar, right? That's just another perspective to think about, right? I will give you this last thing before, if any of you want to email me about my company or working with it or setting up shop in India for what I'm doing, I'm Nick at heyrene.co. I'll put it in the chat here, Nick at heyrene.co. You should check out heyrene.co. It's not .com, HEYRENEE.co. And with that, I truly, truly enjoyed the opportunity. I hope you found this useful at all, and I will open up for questions.
Thank you for sharing this with us. Our next speaker is Vishal Dadikar. He's a healthcare professional with rich experience spanning pharmaceutical product development, diagnostics, clinical research, and biotech marketing. He is currently an authorized patient service center partner with Dr. Lal Path Labs Limited, working towards strengthening diagnostic infrastructure and improving service delivery. In his career, he has managed diagnostics operations, NABL processes, pharma manufacturing, branding, pricing strategies, and sales of dialysis and surgical products. He has also contributed to clinical trials, therapeutic studies, and regulatory audits with leading pharmaceutical companies. With his diverse background, he brings a unique blend of scientific expertise and entrepreneurial insight to advance healthcare access and innovation.
Basically, if you see, whenever you talk about any of the startup or any of the business, so it is always said that inside every problem lies an opportunity. This was written by Robert Kiyosaki, who is an author of Rich Dad and Poor Dad. So basically, when you are starting any business, you should look for a problem, and that problem is later converted to then opportunity. So when we are talking about healthcare, so in 2000 I was searching for some other data, but till it is not updated, but I got come to find out the world healthcare data of 2019. India is added 450 millions of people over the last 25 years from 2016 to till date. Lifestyle diseases, which accounts for half of the death in 2015, up from the 2001 and 3. Basically, I would add one more point. If you see in COVID era, there was a major who has a sufferer or major death has caused due to patient who was having already a lifestyle diseases, right? So healthcare awareness has now we can see the healthcare awareness has grown from $3 billion in 2013. Now it is projected to go 70%. That was in data obtained in the 2019, but it is now almost grown by, you will surprise to know, it is grown by 200 times as compared to 2019 by 2020. The reason behind this is COVID. Next is technology play a critical role in improving healthcare delivery. India's existing infrastructure is not just enough. If you see that, in fact, even after the COVID, we are facing like hospital was shorted, and there was not enough doctors, not enough nurses to take care of the citizens of India. So, and in fact, there is major issue with infrastructure too. So now rupees 47 per day is urban areas, and 32 rupees is cost of healthcare, which was data obtained in 2019. So India meet global average number of the physician in India, but basically 74%, if you see, India meet globally average in number of physicians, but 70% of the doctors cater to third of the urban population. That means, in fact, the number of doctors is very less in India as compared to the population of India. So before going for any of the market analysis, there are some points to be considered for any of the businesses. The points to be considered is population. Second is insurance. Third is rural-urban disparity, because still we call India is now growing and we have smart cities and all this, but there is huge difference between the rural life and urban life. So we could see there are government policies which are revising on a regular basis. So basically, I put it on NABL and NABH. So NABL stand for the laboratories who perform the tests and diagnostics in India, and NABH stand for the National Board of Hospital Accreditation. And basically, there are other policies too in the course of pharmaceutical manufacturing, like WHO is there, Indian FDA is there, so they are upgrading. So many of these, in fact, now we are trying to match up with the US FDA also. So we are going to upgrade ourselves. Now we have another impact, we call this as a WWW and technology. So technology is changing at a speed of light. So we cannot ignore, and this point to be considered before any of the business analysis, or I would say in healthcare, especially in the healthcare business analysis, because insurance, if you could see, you had seen कि इंडिया में ऐसे होता है कि बेसिकली कोई घर बार बेच के भी आज दवाखाने की ट्रीटमेंट कर रहा है, कोई पेशेंट एडमिट होता है तो उसको घर बेचना पड़ता है. बट ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? बिकॉज दे आर ऑल नॉट अवेयर ऑफ द इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज, राइट? सो उसको ये पता नहीं कि इफ आई कुड पे 20,000 rupees in a year, so my entire family get insured, that to amount of 20 lakhs, 15 lakhs. So no one don't know. That's why insurance has also become costlier. And due to COVID, now insurance will be going to become a costlier item. So basically, we have to think of it also. So this is a right thing before doing the market analysis. So find out the right burning problem. So how could we able to find out the right burning problem? Nothing but asking the questions, right? So basically, many times, if you see, there are many startups have started, like Ola has started, Oyo has started. They all have started with some burning problem. So we are going to take it in later part. But we should look for this burning problems issue in the healthcare. So this only come after the asking the questions. So keep asking the questions to doctors, keep asking the question to patients, keep asking questions to pharmacists, keep asking questions to data analysis, keep asking questions to technology. So when we call about healthcare, so healthcare has been divided into many parts, right? So basically question is, what is my customers burning problems, or which sector I'm going to start the business? So how could I able to analyze? First, I have to ask the question, what is my customers burning problem? And the second question is most important question is, how can I solve in such a way that customer can't solve it on its own, his or her own way, right? So basically these two questions anybody has to ask before the analyzing the healthcare or any of the businesses. So basically methodology to finding the customer need, last we seen we have to ask the questions. So how could we able to find out the customer's need? So go with the present data available, right? For example, if you could do the survey, you can go and check the data. Now data is sellable. So you can collect the data and you can purchase the data, how much patients are visiting to hospitals, how much patients are buying medicine from pharmacy, how much patients are buying medicine from online. So you could able to see it. Then question answer internal team, then identify the pain and gaps. Then most important thing is touch points. So touch point is what I will give a small example. So basically, if you go in some car showroom, like in a Maruti car showroom or Nexa, you could go, you would able to see that the guard stands in front of the gate. He smiles, he opens the door for you, he greet you. So basically what he is doing, but he is giving you a touch point. So after that, one lady will come and address you and she will tell you, please have a seat. Then one guy will come and he asks for what would you like to have, tea, coffee, green tea. Then after the sales guy will come, the sales guy will keep discussing with you. What is your profession? You are a professor or you are an engineer. So how much you travel? So after asking this much of questions, he then decides which car is suitable for you. And hope you all have one experience. If you're going to buy like a Baleno, they will try to push you for Ciaz, they will try to push you for SX4, they will try to push you for some higher model. Or in fact, if you are not able to convince for Ciaz, what they will do, they will push Baleno, but they will push the higher model. So basically, this is called as a touch points where they could able to commit out with. Then home ground is called as where home ground is something like if I visited hospital, if I myself I got admitted for any time, if I have found any gaps, then it is called a home ground. Focus on the group interviews, take the group interviews. Then another is a competition from where we can get the data. Then analysis feedback. So basically, as on date, after data, there will be most costlier thing is going to become is a feedback. So that's why if you order something from Swiggy, that if you order from something called as Amazon, they are asking for a feedback. So no doubt, this is a part of feedback. This is the part of and data. But if you could see, this is nothing but going to most costlier thing in the data, that is your feedback, because that feedback is going to help to any of the tech business, manufacturing business to improve their products. So if you could see, all companies take their feedbacks are growing at such a faster rate. If you see in Ola, if you see in Swiggy, if you see in Zomato, if you see in Amazon, they keep asking for feedback. That nothing but that feedback is nothing but the improvisation. So they are converting the feedback to the feed forward and taking to new changes or requirements, right? So basically, then before doing a market analysis, we should see, this is called as a blue ocean and red ocean. So I will give you one example out of this, right? So basically, what is blue ocean and what is red ocean? Red ocean is something where the sharks are there, crocodiles are sharks are there, and deadly fishes are there. And this is called as a cutthroat competition. That means all these companies are working on giving the discount, giving discount, giving discounts. So basically, this is called as or if you visit any of the garden in the evening, there are some thelas who sell the bhel and those pani puri items, and they keep shouting, "You come here, come here, come here." Or if you visited any chowpatty, so this is called as a something called as a red ocean, where there is a cutthroat competition. अगर वो आपको खींच के लेके नहीं जाएगा, then he would not able to survive, right? So this is called as a red ocean policy or red ocean businesses, right? And this is something which is called as a blue ocean strategy. What is blue ocean strategy? Blue ocean strategy is something and create a new market for our businesses or create a new market for our product, right? So I will give you an example. All of you are using a phone where you have a SIM of Jio with your mobile. So now Jio almost in India, almost the second SIM is almost one SIM in mobile is Jio, right? So previously what was happening, see if you see for Airtel, if you see for BSNL, if you see for Telenor, these all companies are struggling in the top time businesses. So they all are now keep struggling on the top time businesses. So what happened? They like giving you 99 rupees, 300 minutes, then 100 rupees recharge and get 1000 SMSs. So all they were struggling in telecalling and calling and in the SMS. No one is focusing on the data. Data means internet data. What happened? Jio come. What done Jio? Jio does calling irrelevant because they are giving unlimited call from the day one. They make SMS irrelevant because they are giving you 100 SMS. They are giving you a caller tune for free. So now if you see, if the companies like Airtel, if companies like Vodafone, if companies like BSNL are surviving on the top time, if they are surviving on the caller tunes, if they are surviving on the SMS, if those things are already going to become free, why should not customer move to the Jio, right? So what does Jio done? Jio done another market. This is called as a data market, right? So this data market was rather next time it's converted to a blue ocean, right? So what happened? All other competitors are automatically killed down because they created same space in the different scenario. If you could see, many other examples are there in the red ocean and blue ocean market. So before starting the business, you should, if you are able to see, so you should find out where exactly your product is standing. Either you are creating a red ocean, you are in the red ocean, or you are in the blue ocean. If you are in the red ocean, you're definitely your business is going to, there will be big question mark on your sustainability, right? Another example I wanted to give you here. You all are now doing payment through using Paytm or everything. Before this, 10 years ago, there was a small shops who were doing the recharges, right? So they will give you some scratch card, you have to scratch it out and you put it in mobile. And then your mobile got recharged. So many times we have to go to see the mobile shops. And from there, we get our mobile the talk time done. Now this has been vanished out, right? So what they done, there is no need to pay the cash because it will be itself deducted from your account. You will be able to see what exactly plan is going and what is the exact plan you are going to offer. If there is any special plan, that is also seen in your phone. So what happened? That entire business, that means a red ocean top time business, this top up business, small shops are completely gone. Soon after, I will give you examples. Soon in coming days, there will be only 20 to 25% buying of mobile phones from the shop. The rest will be become online, and that is going to happen soon. So if 100 mobiles अगर सेल होता है कोल्हापुर में, then उसमें से 25 फोन ही सिर्फ ऑफलाइन लिए जाएंगे, 75% phone will be online. So like that, so I hope I would have explained you red ocean and blue ocean strategy. So you have to able to analyze exactly. So different current position and perspective, innovate and pursue new opportunity and perspective, right? So before going to this, we have to see disruption occurs in the businesses, right? So I had given this example, which could anybody can understand easily. So this is in taxis. Those who are traveling to Mumbai in before 2015, they had experience with this taxi guys. So if you tell them ki I wanted to go to Matunga, and you are in Vashi, he will directly say नहीं नहीं मैं नहीं जाऊंगा. Otherwise he will ask for give me नहीं नहीं मैं उसे 150 रुपए होता है but आपसे 300 रुपए लूंगा. Yeah, I won't allow. Yeah, he was having his own monopoly, these taxi drivers. Then what happened? Ola had done and Uber had done the pain point of the customer. They could able to find how customer is going to getting fooled, how it has become difficult in India to get the taxi. So what they did one thing. They had developed a mobile app. From there, you can directly call to taxi. Taxi will come to you. That app will show you how much rupees you have to pay. There is nothing you have to pay in tax cash. The money will be directly paid from your mobile for bank account. Then there is a huge safety also because you are online. So now Ola had already introduced one button in a taxi where you have to push this button, and that will directly stop the car, and they will report to nearest Ola care center, and from there your safety will be taken care of. So these things were not available in the taxi in the old days. So basically, if you see that, you have to again analyze what kind of disruption we are creating in the market. So I will give you an example parallel to this. Nowadays, you are saying that there are very online pharmacies are coming, PharmEasy, MedLife, and other pharmacies are coming online. So now there is also chain type of pharmacies. These are coming on a day. So what they are going to disrupt now? They are going to disrupt the local pharmacy shops. And how? Nothing but giving the discount, nothing but delivering the medicine at your home, right? So basically, if you are in the red ocean, you have to give the discount. Otherwise, customer won't buy from you, right? Jio के recharge पे किसी को discount नहीं मिलता. So basically, you have to think of it. Then think of disruption. What kind of disruption you are creating? So basically, here we take an example of Ola and Uber. So same example like chain medical shoppies, because chain medical shoppies are how they are disrupting with the local pharmacies. They make available all the drugs. They give the discounts. They deliver product at your home, and they give an awesome services, right? So all this has become now disruption for the local pharmacy shops. This is another example of disruption in hotel industry, right? So Oyo was the first company who started book your hotel through your mobile. So before that, if you wanted to travel, for example, if you wanted to go to Simla, you have to get down off your train. Then guys will come to you and start, नहीं वो taxi वाला आएगा and he will start कि साहब मेरे पास रूम है, मेरे पास रूम है, मेरे पास रूम है, अच्छा रूम है, ये 900 में रूम है. Then he was getting commission, and actually वो रूम रहता था 300 रुपए का, but they will charge you 900 rupees. So you come to solve this problem, right? So they created disruption in hotel industry. Now, though I am in Mumbai and I am in Vashi, there is no need of any hotel to do that. There is no need to send any agent, and can directly book from my mobile. So basically, this is the model, something example on the example this I had put it out. So this is in a healthcare business. Basically, why I put it the example, because this is in a combination of pharmacy and healthcare aspect. So if you see Indira IVF, this is nothing but in a franchisee model, right? So what they are doing, they had their own setup in Rajasthan where they were performing excellently. So what they decided? They decided to do tie-up with the doctors at the district places. For example, they had 5 centers in Pune, they had 3 centers in Aurangabad, they had 2 centers in Kolhapur, they had 1 center in Belgaum. So they spread all over. So how they implemented their expertise with franchisee model. So what is franchisee model? Franchisee model is something where I have everything all right with me, and that same is directly implemented to another center. So basically what they had done in their businesses, they had done tie-up with the pharmacy shops, and they get manufactured something drugs on their own name, so which won't available in the market. Same, they had some strategies to prepare for IVF, and they had very good success rate as compared to other IVF clinics. So basically, when it's come to Indira IVF, So they have excellent model over there. So basically, it is sometimes it is called as a FOFO, and Co is like franchise owned, franchise operated, and company operated. That means franchise owned, franchise operated, and company operated. How this is going to help? Because they have to give only one advertising Times of India, and that will be a very cheaper option for them. They had very excellent feedback-based system, right? And their valuation was 3,500 crore in 2016. Now that this would have reached to almost double or 3 times, right? So basically, while doing in a market analysis, always think of ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Ecosystem is in Sanskrit we call it Jiva Jivasya Jivanam. So basically, we have studied this ecosystem in our school. Like this is an eagle who was eating a snake. Snake is eating a rabbit, and this rabbit is eating a grass. So this is nothing but an ecosystem, right? So what is if you are doing a market research analysis, always focus of having an ecosystem with you. So I will give you example. There are some younger guys and older guys. So those who are older, who knows the company called as Nokia. Now I have to tell in that way because company called as Nokia is there. So what happened with the Nokia, right? So Google and Apple both ethically killed the Nokia. I will give example how it has become, right? So many of you have Apple phone, many of you have an Android phone, right? So what they did, Android then tie up with a mobile manufacturer and started to give a free software, where Nokia is not ready to give software to anyone. In fact, Nokia is not ready to accept the Android software with them, right? So Apple decided in another way. Apple said our own hardware, our own software, and we will charge to customer, right? So what happened with this? Now there was extreme users of Android as well as an Apple users. So what happened? As a customer, I started to buy an Android phone, right? If we and you are customer, then developers are there. So developer come on the Android platform. If developers are there, users are there, definitely mobile networks are going to come on this platform. So they have to develop their mobile network in such a way to meet the speeds of the app requirement. Like they wanted to have a 4G, 5G and higher speed. So they decided to use it. Then what happened? Then bank comes. How? Because we are buying the mobile. Then Amazon come. How? We are buying from this Amazon. Then it is nothing but a complete cycle, right? So same happened with the Apple. So basically, while doing in any business or any health analysis, you should think always of the ecosystem. If you have ecosystem in your business, your business is definitely going to grow as well as become a stable business. If you are not in the ecosystem, you are not going to survive. So understand consumer behavior, right? These are the 2 examples. One is called as a Bisleri ka example ek lete the mineral water ka, right? So basically Bisleri was the first company in a few of the countries who had launched the packaged water bottle or packaged water in the bottle, right? So how they did it? They did it through consumer behavior. What they seen? They seen in India, there is polluted water, there is no free water, there is no fresh and healthy water is available. So they decided to pack it, right? Another is Gillette shaver. So Gillette shaver ka example to sab logon ko pata hoga. What they did for Gillette shaver mistake, they done a study in USA where Indian student was living, right? तो उसमें क्या किया उन्होंने स्टडीज में, उन्होंने क्या किया कि जो यूएसए में इंडियन स्टूडेंट रह रहे थे उनको एक शेविंग का किट दे दिया, उनको बोला आप उसको यूज करो और हमें फीडबैक दे दो. दे डन इट, राइट? बट जिलेट इंडिया में नहीं चला. बताओ क्यों? The major reason was in USA every house is having running water basin, wash basin, and in USA everyone is shaving and cleaning his this shaver on the running water through the tap. But in India, we do mug mein hota hai. We put it in mug ठक 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 क्लीन हुआ, उसको वापस यूज करो, फिर मग में दबाओ, ठक 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 फिर यूज करो, यूज हुआ. So what was happened with the Gillette? The product failed in India because they won't understand the consumer behavior, right? So another thing I am going to give you, there is something called as a perfect and imperfect customer. Let us understand what is perfect and imperfect customer. See, I will give you example, right? So many time in my seminars, I call this perfect customer as a Ma Kasam customer, right? So I can give you example what is Ma Kasam customer. क्या होता है, when we try to buy a mobile phone, it is perfect in my mind कि मुझे सैमसंग का S21 प्लस लेना है, 8 GB 512 GB मेमोरी स्टोरेज प्लस, मुझे लैवेंडर कलर लेना है, उसके साथ मुझे हेडफोन्स लेना है, उसके साथ मुझे चार्जर लेना है, उसके साथ मुझे सब कुछ लेना है. सो नाउ आई प्रिपेयर्ड माय माइंड. और मैं अगर जाऊंगा दुकान में मोबाइल के, तो मैं क्या सर्च करूंगा, सीधा आई विल गो ऑन द सैमसंग काउंटर, उसको बोलूंगा भाई मेरे को सैमसंग का S21 का मोबाइल चाहिए, मोबाइल दिखा. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज ना परफेक्ट कस्टमर. इसमें कोई दिमाग नहीं लगाएगा, उसको देने का है मुझे S21 का मोबाइल, या मुझे खरीदना है S21, उसको मुझे देना है S21 का मोबाइल, एंड इट बिकम जॉब फिनिश. अनदर थिंग, जिसके घर में बेबी होने वाला है, राइट, उसको गायनेक के पास जाना पड़ेगा डिलीवरी के लिए. So we were in the lastly so we were there to understand the consumer's behavior. That I was giving perfect example. We were discussing like Ma Kasam customer, मुझे सैमसंग का मोबाइल लेना है, S21 लेना है, इतना इतना लेना है. So this is called a perfect customer. Now we called about imperfect customer. Imperfect customer कहाँ पे मिलता है? तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, फेसबुक पे टहलने के लिए जाते हैं. वी गो लाइक ऑन फेसबुक लाइक गोइंग ऑन द पार्क. सो वहां पे एक बोर्ड दिखता है कि आपके मोबाइल के कवर पे आपका फोटो प्रिंट करके मिलेगा. सो दिस इज नॉट द परफेक्ट कस्टमर. आप लोग जाते हो वहां पे प्रिंट करके लेके आते हो, सो दैट हमारा फोटो वी गॉट प्रिंटेड अ फोटोग्राफ ऑन आवर मोबाइल कवर, वहां पे अपना फोटो प्रिंट हो जाता है, एंड देन वी बिकम एन इम्परफेक्ट कस्टमर, राइट? So it is must to understand the consumer behavior. Now cost versus benefit analysis, right? So always see there is cost involved in everything. So basically there are something called a direct cost which are going to affect the productions. There are indirect cost, right? Like employee safety, insurance, opportunity cost, team immunity, something intangible cost, customer goodwill, right? So here we need to have an cost versus benefit analysis. Then always do something called as a asset light model. What is asset light model? Where we involve with very less assets, right? हमारा उसमें asset कुछ भी नहीं involve होता है. वहां पे क्या होता है, asset light model होता है, और very low size asset model. Fly light का meaning क्या है? Do something which cost you very less, right? Because when we do something new business, we don't know what kind of strategies are going to help us. उसमें क्या होगा, सबसे पहले फ्लाई रेट में बहुत छोटा छोटा करो, छोटा छोटा इन्वेस्टमेंट करो, छोटा छोटा डिसीजन ले लो, फिर उसके बाद करो. सोशल मीडिया मार्केटिंग कोविड में तो ये और भी सस्ता हो गया. बिफोर इट वाज लाइक पेपर मीडिया से भी सस्ता था. नाउ इट्स ऑलमोस्ट 0.25% टू द कॉस्ट ऑफ द पेपर मीडिया. उससे भी कम है, 10 पैसे के हिसाब. अगर मैं पेपर मीडिया में 1 रुपए में खर्च करता हूँ, तो इफ आई वांटेड टू डू इन एडवर्टाइजिंग सोशल मीडिया, then it's a 1 rupee, it is like 10 paisa only. 10 paisa भी नहीं होगा, it would be like 1 paisa. Socio-economical types, right? So free health checkup camps कर सकते हैं हम लोग, right? So end of we are reaching towards end of the session. Then while doing in a healthcare business, we should have a right purpose in our life, right? It count about us how much you do. It is not about how much you do, but how much you love you put into what do, that counts, right? And then this is in a last section I'm going to add this. This is called as an artificial intelligence or autopilot, right? So now this is in a very core part of any of the businesses, right? So use of computer in your businesses, like Now machines and computers are now capable to solve problems like humans because we always have any repeated problems, right? So basically there is something called as NLP, neural linguistics. So pattern recognition, visual perception, decision making is now can be influenced using an NLP. You can make anyone to buy our product using NLP. That is so easy. There is now something called as a machine learning, right? So machine learning is nothing but your mobile now is going to become a machine learning because they understand whether you touch your left finger, whether you touch your right finger, what is exactly you are using it when you are using a mobile. How what is the position of mobile? Like if you're reading it or browsing from mobile by sitting or sleeping, what is the gesture, what was your mood, so all your mobile can understand right now. So advantage of machine learning can be retain the information, become smarter over time, right? And machine is not susceptible to sleep deprivations. These are the limitations, right? So basically almost we had come to an end.
Thank you for your insights. Our next speaker is Vishal Narvekar. He is the founder and CEO of Orals Private Limited, driving innovation in AI, blockchain, geospatial intelligence. With 18 plus years of experience, he has built and scaled products across energy, smart surveillance, HVAC, and co working ecosystems. He has led global teams of 50 plus, managed multi-million-dollar portfolios, and delivered enterprise grade solutions at scale. A product strategist and technologist at heart, he specializes in artificial intelligence, machine learning, data engineering, and cloud based solutions. At Orals, he combines cutting edge technology with a focus on sustainability and real world income.
All. So, hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to this international e-conference on AI in pharma and healthcare, organized to celebrate World Pharmacist Day in 2025. It's truly an honor to be here with all of you, even though we are connecting virtually. The fact that we can gather across time zones, professions, cultures to talk about the future of healthcare shows the power of collaboration. And in many ways, it mirrors the very theme of our discussion today, how technology and especially artificial intelligence is bringing people, data, and ideas together in more transformative ways. My name is Vishal Arbekar. I have close to 2 decades of experience in IT industry, specializing in AI, ML, and Industry 4.0. And I have spent much of my career at the intersection of healthcare, technology, and innovation. I have seen firsthand how small shifts in technology can change the daily lives of healthcare professionals and the outcomes for patients. But I have also seen how overwhelming it could be, right, when technology moves so quickly that it seems to be rewriting the rules every few years. Today, AI is one of those forces. It is no longer a futuristic idea that belongs only in science fiction. It is here, right now, shaping everything from how we discover drugs to how we diagnose diseases to how we pharmacists like us, practice, right? So everything is kind of ingrained into this, right? So in our time together today, we will explore three key themes. First, we will look at where we stand today. What is AI already doing in pharmacy, in healthcare, and how is it being used in the real world scenarios, not just in research labs, but in hospital, clinics, and pharmacies. Secondly, we will explore what is ahead of us, what breakthroughs are on the horizon. How could AI change the way we think about drug discovery, personalized medicine, and the role of pharmacists in the future? And third, we will reflect on the challenges. Because as exciting as this technology is, it also brings questions of ethics, the regulations, fairness, and responsibility. If we ignore those, we risk building tools that are powerful but not trustworthy. I want you to think of this session not just as a lecture, but as a conversation. Imagine we are in the same room, perhaps at a round table, and we are having this discussion. I'm sharing my thoughts, stories, perspectives, and you in return are connecting with them. with your own experiences as pharmacists, as healthcare professionals or researchers. So let us begin this journey by asking where exactly are we today in the relationship between the AI, pharma, and healthcare. So maybe we can step back for a moment to understand the current landscape. We know the healthcare has always been an information-heavy field. Think about it. Every prescription, the lab tests, every clinical trial, all of these generate enormous amount of data. And for decades, we struggle to manage this data, let alone make sense of it. AI, artificial intelligence at its core, is about finding patterns in data. It's about learning from millions of examples and then making predictions or suggestions that help humans make better decisions. That's why AI feels so perfectly suited for healthcare. Let me highlight a few key areas where AI is already making an impact today. The first would be the drug discovery and development. Traditionally, drug discovery has been like searching for a needle in a haystack. Scientists screen thousands of molecules, run countless experiments, and hope that one day they will see some promising results. It's very expensive. It's very time consuming, and often it doesn't work. AI is actually changing this. With machine learning, we can simulate how molecules will behave, predict how they might bind to a target, and even generate entirely new molecular structures using generative AI. What used to take years now takes months. For example, companies are already using AI to design drugs for rare diseases, where traditional research and development would have been too costly. We have ever seen the first AI discover drug candidates entering clinical trials, something that was unthinkable just a decade ago. But now pharmacists may ask, why does this even matter to me? Well, every drug you dispense, every therapy you advise on comes from a discovery pipeline. If AI accelerates that pipeline, you will be seeing new therapies faster, and you will need to understand how they were developed. Then comes clinical trial. It is one of the crucial aspects of this discussion. Did you know that about 80% of clinical trials fail to meet the enrollment times? And recruiting the right patients, monitoring them, ensuring adherence is a huge, huge challenge. AI helps there by analyzing medical records to identify eligible patients, predicting which trial designs will be most effective and efficient, and even monitoring patient data through variables in real time. For pharmacists, this is significant. Many of you are involved in clinical research, patient monitoring, or trial medication management. AI tools can make your role more impactful by ensuring that right patient gets the right drug at the right time. So diagnostics and decision support. So let's talk about diagnostics. One of the most exciting areas of AI has been image recognition. AI systems can analyze radiology scans, pathology slides, dermatology images with remarkable accuracy and precision. For example, AI can spot early signs of lung cancer or diabetic retinopathy, sometimes even before human experts do. But the goal is not to replace doctors, but it is to act as a second set of eyes, reducing error rates, ensuring nothing is missed. In pharmacies decision support, AI can help with drug interactions, personalized dosages, or identifying risk for adverse events instead of manually cross-checking drug databases. AI systems can highlight risk instantly, allowing pharmacists to focus more on counseling patients. The next part of this where we stand session, automation in pharmacies isn't new. We have had robotic dispensing systems for years. And but with AI, automation goes beyond physical tasks. AI can predict which medications will be in demand, optimize inventory, and even support personalized dosing by analyzing genetic and lifestyle data. Imagine in a near future where instead of every patient with high blood pressure receiving the same drug at the same dose, AI helps tailor the treatment plan based on the unique profile each of these patients have. That's where pharmacy is headed. And it is going to help us with administrative efficiency as well. It is it is being used to cut through administrative burdens. Tools that summarize medical records, generate patient discharge instructions, or even draft insurance documentation are becoming common. For pharmacists, this could mean less time filling out forms and more time engaging with patients. And if we step back, what do we see? We see an ecosystem where AI is not replacing humans, but amplifying their abilities. Doctors, pharmacists, and nurses are still at the center. But they now have tools that allow them to make faster, better, and more personalized decisions. And this brings us to an important question. If this is where we are today, then what is the next? Where is this all going? So, of course, the next section will be say opportunity and breakthroughs, where we will discuss one of the most transformative periods in the history of medicine, and let's explore some of the opportunities and breakthroughs as part of this section that are either emerging right now or on the horizon. The first is precision medicine and genomics. One of the most promising sector in AI is precision medicine. Instead of treating patients as average, we tailor treatments to individuals based on their genetics, their lifestyle, and environment. AI can analyze genomic data at a scale that humans simply can't fathom. For example, by comparing thousands of genetic profiles, AI can identify which patients are most likely to respond to a particular cancer therapy. This has direct implications for pharmacists. Pharmacogenomics is becoming part of daily practice. Imagine being able to say, based on your genetic profile, this drug is less likely to work for you, but this alternative has a better chance of success. That's not science fiction anymore. It's happening. Another area is predictive analytics. Instead of waiting for patients to get sick, AI can identify risk factors early and suggest preventive measures. For example, analyzing variable data might show that a patient's heart rate variability is declining, signaling stress, cardiovascular disease, or maybe the risk. Pharmacists often put things step in with counseling, lifestyle advice, or preventative medication adjustments. This transforms pharmacists from being primarily dispensers of drugs to being proactive health coaches supported by AI insights. Then there is radiology, pathology. AI's role in imaging is expanding rapidly. We already mentioned radiology, but it's also making waves in pathology, where AI can scan tissue samples for subtle abnormalities. And in ophthalmology, cardiology, and more. What is interesting is how these tools integrate with pharmacists' work. For example, AI can predict how certain diagnostic findings should influence medication choice, enabling pharmacists to be part of disciplinary decision-making teams. Drug repurposing and rare diseases. One of the unsung superpowers of AI is drug repurposing. By analyzing vast databases of drug effects, AI can identify unexpected therapeutic usage. For instance, a drug developed for one condition might turn out to help with another rare disease. This is especially exciting for patients with rare conditions who often face long waits for treatments. For pharmacists, it means staying updated with evolving evidence and helping patients navigate new options that weren't even available before. So, how we can integrate this with the real world data? Real world data that mainly comes from safe variables, the apps, the electronic health records will become central. AI can continuously monitor patients and feedback recommendations in real time. Imagine a diabetic patient wearing a glucose monitor. AI detects unusual patterns and alerts. Both the pharmacist can counsel the patient or adjust their drug regimen in collaboration with the physician. In short, the opportunities are vast, but with greater powers comes greater responsibilities, which brings us to the next part of our journey, the challenges and ethical consideration. And this is going to be the last section. So, as exciting as AI, it is not without the risk. If we want to harness its full potential, we must confront the challenges head on. So, the subsection of this is bias and the fearless. AI is only as good as the data isn't it's trained on. If the data reflects biases, whether racial, gender, or socioeconomic, the AI will replicate those biases. For example, if an AI diagnostic tool has been trained mostly on data from one population group, it may perform poorly on another population group. And this is unacceptable in healthcare where equity is fundamental, right? Pharmacists who often serve diverse communities need to be vigilant. We must ask, is this tool accurate for my patient population? So then comes this data privacy, which is one of the most important aspects. Healthcare data is among the most sensitive information we have. Using AI often requires sharing and analyzing vast amounts of patients' data. But who owns that data? How is it protected? Can patients trust that their information won't be misused? As pharmacists, You may be custodians of this data. You will need to ensure compliance with privacy regulations and advocate for transparency with your patients. Regulation and oversight. Regulators like the FDA or EMA are still figuring out how to evaluate AI tools. Traditional frameworks for drug approvals doesn't map neatly onto algorithms that constantly learn and evolve. This means pharmacists and healthcare professionals will play a role in shaping policy. Your feedback from the field will help regulators understand how these tools are used in practice. How the human and AI collaboration work. I think it is the most important challenge is culture. There's fear that AI will replace human professionals, but I believe that future is about collaboration. AI can process vast data, but it cannot replace human empathy, judgment, ethical design. A phrase I like is this: AI won't replace pharmacists, but pharmacists who use AI will replace those who don't. In other words, the key is to embrace the technology, learn it, and use it as a tool, not see it as a competitor or a threat. The final challenge is education. AI is evolving rapidly. The knowledge we gain today may be outdated in just a few years. And that's why pharmacists and healthcare professionals must commit to lifelong learning. Whether it is attending conferences like this, enrolling in skill development programs, or simply staying curious, we must keep learning. So the question arises, where does all of this leave us? We have seen that AI is already transforming pharma and healthcare. It's speeding up drug discovery, making clinical trials more efficient, improving diagnostics, reshaping pharmacy practices. We are also seeing the opportunities ahead. Precision medicine, precision healthcare, like we discussed, drug repurposing, real-time data integration, these are not abstract concepts anymore. They are real, tangible innovations that will help human beings, and also it will affect our work in the next 5 to 10 years. At the same time, we have acknowledged the challenges, bias, privacy, regulations, human AI collaboration, and the need for continuous learning. These are not obstacles to be feared, but responsibilities to be embraced. And here's the key message I want to leave you with. Technology alone is never enough. What makes AI powerful is not the algorithm, it's the people who use it. The values we have, the patients we serve. As pharmacists and healthcare professionals, you are at the very heart of this transformation. You are the bridge between the science of AI and the lived experience of patients. So, my call to action for you today is this: be curious, be critical of the situation, and be courageous. Explore AI, question it, use it responsibly, and integrate it into your practice in ways that truly benefit your patients. If we do this together, we can build a future where healthcare is not only smarter, but also more compassionate, equitable, and human. So I would really like to thank you very much for your time, your attention. I look forward to the discussion, to hearing your perspective on this exciting journey. So this was all about the AI in pharma and healthcare, which touched based upon very interesting concepts, right? Where we stand in the AI technology. What is ahead of us? Means what are the breakthroughs we have on our horizon, right? And we discussed about the challenges that involves the ethical use of AI, the regulations, the fairness, and the responsibilities. And we know the risk of building tools that are powerful and they are not trustworthy. You can just think how dangerous it could be to the human society. All right. Thank you very much.
The sessions today were truly insightful and inspiring, giving us a deeper understanding of how artificial intelligence is reshaping pharma and healthcare. As we now conclude the International E-Conference on AI in Pharma and Healthcare, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their expertise and to all the participants for being part of this journey. On behalf of Ciree Skillversity, thank you once again for joining us. Let's carry forward the ideas, collaborations, and innovations we discussed today to build a brighter future for healthcare with AI at its core. Thank you and see you again at your next edition.